Thank you for purchasing this budget planner, designed to be both easy to use and flexible to suit your personal situation, preferences, and changing circumstances throughout the year. While this is a beginner's tool, it is still packed with useful features and inspiring visuals to keep you on track. Although budgeting and tracking your financial transactions might not always be entertaining, with the right tools, it can certainly become easier, more time-saving, and even enjoyable. Taking control of your personal finances and reaching your financial goals is a worthwhile pursuit with life-changing benefits. Now, let's set up an example budget and run through the model in practice. The first tab, named Guide, includes a link to the Harmony Sheets Etsy store where you can receive support if needed. I will try to help you as best as I can and hope to meet your expectations. You will also find a link to this demo video and an instructional video on how to activate the script for using the automated new budget feature instead of doing it manually. The first thing I recommend is setting your currency. This is done in the Currency tab. The selected currency will be applied throughout the budget model. You can either choose a currency from the drop-down list or type your own symbol in the manual cell below it. If there is any text in the manual cell, it will take precedence over the drop-down list. Now, let's have a look at the main budget tab and start budgeting. We will get back to the two tabs for recurring budget and savings goals later in the tutorial. At the top of the budget, you have the option to set your starting cash balance and the start and end dates of the budget period. In this demo budget, my cash balance will be $1,700, and I will be budgeting for the month of June. The budget can be used for any specified period of time you wish to manage, be it a week, a month, a quarter, or even a year. If you receive money from a paycheck at specific intervals, you might want to run the budget from one paycheck date to the next. There's also a useful feature where you can toggle the Highlight Input Cells checkbox to see all input cells highlighted in yellow. When you uncheck the box, the yellow formatting will disappear. Below the top bar, you will find a section that contains useful insights for the four main budget categories: income, expenses and bills, savings, and debt. Below that, we have both a cash flow table and 3 insightful graphs that provide a visual representation of your finances. We will take a closer look at all of these after we have filled in our budget amounts and started tracking our actual transactions. Here we have the 5 main input tables. These tables share a uniform structure consisting of a budget item name, the budgeted amount, and the actual amount. This budget model offers maximum flexibility and ease of use, allowing for different input sources. Initially, all settings are on Manual, which means you can directly type in all your budget and actual amounts. This method is straightforward and particularly beginner-friendly. Let's say I expect to receive a salary of $1,850 this month, and since it's my birthday, I also anticipate a cash gift of $50. The currency symbol will automatically be added to any budget item you enter. Next, I have a Netflix subscription for $17, a Spotify subscription for $13, a phone bill expected to be $20, and rent of $1,120 per month. I hope to not spend more than $350 on food and groceries. Public transportation and a trip to the dentist are estimated to cost $75 and $80 respectively. I also have student debt payments of $115 per month, and currently, I do not have any savings goals this month. We can now see that the budget column in the cash flow table matches our budget data, and we are predicting a surplus of $110. We expect our cash balance to increase by the same amount. The budget composition is now displayed in a pie chart with colors matching those of the input tables, and the budgeted amounts are also shown in the bar chart. Now, let's record some actual amounts. Depending on your preference, this could be done at the end of the month, weekly, or as you go to really stay on track. My actuals came in roughly as expected, except I overspent a bit on food and had an unexpected trip to the cinema. However, I also received more for my birthday than I had budgeted. The cash flow table now reflects our actual amounts, showing an actual surplus of $119 added to my cash balance. The cash flow waterfall graph presents this development informatively, bridging the starting and ending cash balances. The budget versus actuals bar chart has also been updated with the actual amounts, with budgeted colors matching the budget composition pie chart and the actuals colored in dark blue. Since I am running a surplus this month, I could potentially transfer this amount to my savings account for a holiday, as I don't need more than the beginning cash balance in my day-to-day current account. You will see that the overall performance icon changes from indicating a surplus to depicting a scale, representing a balanced budget. Additionally, my savings rate will increase from 0% to 6%. As we scroll up again, we see that all the colored tiles have updated automatically. The actual total income is $82 above budget, and in the second tile, we see that my paycheck is the highest actual income source for this budget period. The bottom tile, named Difference Insights, shows the budget item with the largest actual monetary value compared to what was expected, highlighting the most significant financial surprises. This information is similarly populated for the other main budget categories as well. Now, let's have a look at how the other input sources work so that you can make the budget work most efficiently for you. Let's say you are a freelancer and your income varies quite a bit from month to month. Therefore, the input source for my income should remain manual. For subscriptions and recurring bills, I will use the recurring budget as my input source. Not only is it useful to have a subscription tracker to monitor what is being automatically charged to your account each month, but it also saves time by not having to repeatedly enter the same budgeting details for subscriptions that are generally renewed every month. Let's navigate to the Recurring Budget tab and take a look at the options there. The Recurring Budget Transactions sheet includes sections for all the main budget categories, except for one-time purchases and expenses, as these generally are not recurring. In the Subscription and Recurring Bills section, I will list all my subscriptions. Each category has 2 tables, providing ample space for items and the opportunity to create a system. The way I have set it up is by listing subscriptions and bills that I generally keep all year round on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I list subscriptions that I turn on and off at my discretion, but are still somewhat recurring. You must check the active checkbox next to an item for it to be included in the budget. This setup allows you to easily uncheck some subscriptions if you switch them on and off to save money. It's also very useful to get into the habit of writing down a new subscription as you enter it, because many of us have forgotten subscriptions that continue costing us money month after month. The frequency of payments and the payment date are optional data, as they do not affect any calculations, but it's still useful to know on what date and how often certain subscriptions renew, especially those you turn on and off. If we head back to the Budget tab, all of our subscriptions that are marked as active will already be populated for us, as I have selected recurring as the input source. For my day-to-day expenses and one-time purchases, I will use the categories option as my input source. If we scroll down to the end of the budget, we find a grouped section for categories. You can ungroup the rows by clicking on the little plus symbol. This is a simple and easy way for you to store all your budget categories, saving time when you set up your budget. All of these can be changed, deleted, or added according to your preference, and you can use them for all the 5 budget input tables. I will uncheck gas and vehicle maintenance since I don't own a car, and include dining out and the category for cinemas and shows. If we now scroll up to our budget and choose categories as the input source, the spreadsheet will automatically populate all the categories you selected. For debt, I will choose recurring as my input source, since my student debt has a fixed interest rate and I pay the same amount every month. I will use the included Savings Goals model for my savings. Let's navigate to the My Savings Goals tab and have a look at how it works and integrates with the budget. I currently have 4 funds that I aim to start saving for. I have already reached over half of my $500 goal for an emergency fund, which is a prudent financial move in case I need it for a rainy day. I plan to reach this goal by the end of September, which translates to about $25 saved per month. I have set aside this money in a separate savings account, so I don't use it for anything else. I also intend to start saving for a new car and a wedding, but have not yet decided on the amounts and timing of these funds. However, I plan to do so in the future. Since I want to own my own home, I have an ongoing savings fund for a home down payment, where I usually allocate my annual bonus from work towards that goal. I don't have an ending date or a specific monthly goal for this one. Let's now add a new savings project for my upcoming summer holiday, which will happen in mid-August. I must enter a title for the savings fund for it to appear in the budget, so I will name this one Summer Holiday. My goal is to save $250, and I will use the $119 from this month's surplus toward this fund. I will set the start date to July 1st and have until the beginning of the holiday to save up for it, which will be August 15th. I'll use my travel card account for this and choose Holiday as my icon. The savings model calculates that I need $131 to reach my goal and have about 1.5 months to do so. It recommends saving approximately $89 per month. Now, let's imagine I save that amount the next month and add it to my saved total. The model will now show that I have only 2 weeks until my holiday, and it would recommend saving $21 for each of the next 2 weeks, totaling $42. This makes it easy to see how much I need to save as the end date quickly approaches. The savings graphs will update each time you add more money to the saved amount, and you will earn 3 gold stars when the goal is reached. You can also add your own images if you prefer them over the native icons. The Savings Goals model allows you to save for up to 12 funds at any time, providing ample opportunity for various projects, purchases, and events you might want to start saving for and ensure they become a reality. The budget integrates with the Savings Goals model and takes into account the period you are budgeting for. It will calculate the daily amount needed for your savings and adjust this amount according to the chosen budget period. The budget model also includes a built-in transactions tracker for each budget period. You can apply this feature to all the budget tables by selecting the Tracker option as the input for the Actuals column. In this example, I use it specifically for one-time purchases and expenses. The tracker has a field that will inform you which trackers are active, as only these will be available as drop-down options. This is particularly useful if you have multiple transactions within the same budget categories, as they will automatically be summed up for you. As you add expense transactions to the logger, they will all be displayed in the breakdown chart to the right. All transactions are automatically added to the Actuals column in the budget under the correct category. If we turn on the tracker for income, it becomes active and available from the drop-down menu as well. The fields for date, account, and comments are all optional but available if you prefer to log detailed transaction information. The final feature we'll examine is the options for creating a new budget. There are 2 methods. You can manually copy the sheet by duplicating a budget sheet and make necessary adjustments by deleting the previous budget and Actuals data for the new budget. The second method is via automated scripts. If you have scripts activated, you can let the code handle the creation process. For help activating scripts, refer back to the Guide tab for more details. When you select Create New Budget from the drop-down menu in the top bar, a dialog box will appear requesting you to name your new budget. I will enter July 24 since I'm planning for the month of July next. I will also check off Rollover Cash Balances because I use this on a monthly rolling basis. This option sets the beginning cash balance of the new budget equal to the last budget's ending cash balance. Leave it unchecked if you prefer to start with a 0 balance and enter your own cash balance later. Click Create Budget and wait a few seconds. The script will copy the budget sheet from which you selected Create New Budget. It will clear certain ranges to ensure the new budget starts fresh, but will keep the recurring inputs, which are likely to continue into the new period. This setup also ensures that the old budget retains its budget and Actuals values. For instance, if you make changes to the recurring budget sheet, such as activating a new subscription or changing the value of a recurring bill for a new period, it will not affect your previous historical budgets. The transaction logger will remain active for historical budgets, allowing you to make last-minute entries to any actuals using the tracker function in a historical budget. Before we wrap up, let's look at a few issues you might encounter and how the model uses data validation to minimize errors in user inputs. If you manually enter data in the budget tables and then select a different input source, such as recurring, the model will notify you to delete the manual data first. Simply highlight the red cells and press the delete key. Some cells have data validation built in to ensure that dates are entered into date cells and numbers into number cells. In the recurring budget field, you will also be alerted if duplicate names are entered, as they are not allowed. That's it! I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that your new purchase will assist you in your financial journey. If you have any questions or encounter issues with the model, feel free to reach out through the support feature in the Harmony Sheets Etsy store. By purchasing a spreadsheet from Harmony Sheets on Etsy, you also gain access to all future updates and new features for that particular model at no extra cost.